What if I told you that life itself is constantly whispering to you, but almost everything you've been taught has trained you to ignore it? Every single day, subtle messages are being placed along your path. Too precise, too personal, too perfectly timed to be dismissed as random. The song that plays just as you think of someone you haven't seen in years. The number that seems to follow you from clocks to receipts to license plates. The stranger you meet by chance who somehow gives you the exact piece of information you've been searching for. These are not accidents. You've brushed them off as coincidences, but somewhere inside, you've always felt that there's something more. And you were right. What we call synchronicities are not random flukes of chance. They are deliberate signals woven into the very fabric of reality, guiding you towards something greater. Ancient civilizations knew this truth. Mystics studied it. Philosophers debated it. Yet modern culture dismisses it, labeling such experiences as luck, bias, or imagination. Society is designed to keep you from realizing what synchronicities really are, because to notice them is to recognize that the universe itself is intelligent and interactive. To begin to see patterns is to realize that reality is not a machine running on cold laws of physics. It is a living system responding to your thoughts, emotions, and awareness. These alignments are cracks in the illusion of randomness. They are proof that the world is not what you've been told it is. From the day you were born, you were conditioned to believe in logic, predictability, and material explanations. Everything had to fit inside boxes of measurement and proof. If something didn't, it was dismissed as imagination or fantasy. This conditioning was not accidental. It was designed to cut you off from deeper forces. As a child, you were naturally attuned to energies, patterns, and intuitions. You noticed how certain events lined up, how you could sense when something was about to happen, how sometimes you simply knew what someone else was thinking. But when you shared these experiences, you were told to stop daydreaming. You were told that such things were just coincidences. Slowly, you stopped listening. You trusted only what was visible, measurable, or approved by authority. And by doing so, you closed the door to the living dialogue that reality was trying to have with you. Schools played a massive role in this suppression. They trained you to memorize, obey, and conform. They emphasized data, facts, and external authority, while creativity, intuition, and imagination were pushed aside. If you couldn't weigh it, prove it, or categorize it, it was deemed unreal. This rigid structure taught you that your inner knowing could not be trusted. Science became the final gatekeeper of truth, but not the kind of science that is open to wonder, exploration, and discovery. Instead, the system elevated a narrow, materialist science that insists everything is mechanical, random, and meaningless. Under this model, synchronicities are explained away as cognitive bias, your brain playing tricks on you. Seeing 1111 repeatedly, just confirmation bias. Meeting the right person at the perfect time, just chance. Everything gets stripped of meaning, leaving you disconnected from the guiding forces that surround you. But here's the truth that isn't told in classrooms. Some of the greatest minds in history, Carl Jung, Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, understood that reality is not as random as we've been led to believe. Jung coined the very term synchronicity after studying meaningful coincidences that defied logic. Tesla spoke often about patterns, vibrations, and frequency as the keys to understanding the universe. Einstein admitted that the deeper order of the cosmos was more mysterious than materialist science could explain. These were not fringe mystics. They were some of the most brilliant thinkers of the modern age, and they recognized that hidden patterns and synchronicities were pointing toward a greater truth. Yet society continues to ridicule anyone who takes synchronicities seriously. Those who follow the signs are labeled irrational or superstitious. Those who dismiss them are praised as rational and intelligent. This is no accident. It is conditioning. If you want to control a population, you must ensure they never discover their own power. Because the moment someone begins to notice synchronicities, they begin to realize they are not separate from the universe. They are a co-creator, connected to something infinitely larger, and once you awaken to that connection, you cannot go back to sleep. Synchronicities are the invitations to wake up. They are proof that reality is alive, intelligent, and responsive. They are the signals that you are in alignment, or the warnings that you are not. They are reminders that the boundaries between your thoughts, your emotions, and the external world are not as solid as you were taught. These alignments whisper to you. Pay attention. They ask you to trust. They nudge you to take action, and if you ignore them, they fade. But if you list in, if you honor them, they multiply. This is not fantasy. This is the hidden language of reality itself. At some point in your life, you've had an experience that felt too perfectly timed to dismiss as random chance. You think of someone out of the blue, and within moments they call you. You open a book at random, and the exact sentence staring back at you speaks directly to the question that's been burning in your mind. You notice repeating numbers, 111, 222, 333, appearing in too many places to be ignored, as if reality itself is underlining something important for you. These are synchronicities. They are not accidents, not trivial coincidences. They are messages, signals from the deeper intelligence woven into the universe, showing you that life is not a disconnected series of events, but a network of meaning and alignment. But the real mystery is not simply what synchronicities are, but why they happen and how they work. Some believe these signs come from a higher version of yourself, your own soul, guiding you toward the path you were meant to walk. Others see them as signals from the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of human thought and experience that Carl Jung described. Still others believe synchronicities are evidence of a higher intelligence. Call it God, Source, the universe, or even a simulation, trying to communicate with its players. Whatever the origin, one truth remains. Synchronicities carry meaning. They are not meaningless accidents. They are the bridge between your inner world and the outer reality, a dialogue between consciousness and creation. To understand how synchronicities actually function, we must look at the hidden mechanics of the mind and reality itself. Neuroscience offers one important piece of the puzzle through what is called the reticular activating system, or RAS. This is a network in your brainstem that filters the flood of information constantly bombarding you. Out of billions of stimuli, the RAS decides which ones reach your conscious awareness. Have you ever noticed that when you buy a new car, you suddenly see that same model everywhere? The cars were always there, but your RAS wasn't filtering them in until your mind told it they were relevant. The same principle applies to synchronicities. When you begin to believe in them, expect them, and tune your awareness toward them, your brain shifts its filters. Suddenly, alignments that you once overlooked begin to stand out. They appear more often, not because the world has changed, but because you are finally paying attention. But to stop at neuroscience would be incomplete, because synchronicities are more than mental filtering. They hint at a much deeper connection. Quantum physics has long suggested that consciousness plays an active role in shaping reality. The famous double-slit experiment revealed that the act of observation itself changes the behavior of subatomic particles. Matter does not behave the same when unobserved as it does when observed. This implies that consciousness is not merely a passenger in reality, it is an active participant. Your focus and attention interact with the fabric of the universe itself. This means that your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are not confined to your head. They ripple outward into the field of reality. Synchronicities are the reflections of those ripples, coming back to you as meaningful events. Now add to this the ancient principle known as the law of vibration. Everything in existence is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they, too, carry specific vibrations. These frequencies shape what you resonate with in the external world. If you constantly dwell in fear, scarcity, or limitation, your vibration aligns with those states, and your reality mirrors them back. If you shift your focus to gratitude, alignment, and purpose, your frequency changes, and reality begins to echo that back through synchronicities that guide you forward. This is why people who awaken to synchronicities suddenly experience more of them. It's not just that they are noticing them, it's that their energy has shifted and the universe is responding. Your subconscious mind also plays a crucial role. While your conscious mind handles daily tasks, your subconscious is constantly scanning, linking, and processing information far beyond your awareness. When you set a strong intention, whether consciously or unconsciously, your subconscious begins aligning events and opportunities that point toward that outcome. This is why people who deeply believe in synchronicities see them everywhere. Their subconscious is actively weaving connections and bringing them into awareness. It's not only about noticing more, it's about your inner world helping to shape the sequence of your outer world. Skeptics argue that all of this is just selective attention, that synchronicities are nothing more than your brain looking for patterns and randomness. But if that were the whole story, why would these experiences so often carry deeply personal meaning? Why do they align with your emotions, questions, or decisions at the exact right moment? Why do they push people toward life-changing paths, careers, relationships, and awakenings? Dismissing them as mere tricks of the brain is like looking at a compass and saying, "It's just a needle spinning." Yes, the mechanics matter, but what matters more is that the needle points north. Synchronicities are the compass of your soul, orienting you toward alignment. The key insight here is that synchronicities are not passive curiosities. They are an interactive process, a co-creation between you and reality. They are the dialogue between your conscious intentions, your subconscious alignments, and the universal intelligence that governs existence. When you notice them, acknowledge them, and act on them, the dialogue strengthens. The signs grow louder. The alignments multiply. But when you ignore them, dismiss them, or second-guess them, the conversation fades. The universe will not shout endlessly if you choose not to listen. And this brings us to an even deeper realization. Synchronicities are not evenly distributed in people's lives. Some live in a state of constant flow, where alignments seem to appear daily, guiding them with uncanny precision. Others rarely notice them at all, trapped in a worldview that sees life as random and indifferent. The difference is not luck, it is awareness, alignment, and belief. Most people live their entire lives inside a prison of materialism, where meaning is stripped from experience and events are written off as chance. They have been conditioned to doubt their own intuition, to ignore subtle signs, and to seek authority only outside themselves. This disbelief becomes a self-fulfilling barrier. They will not see synchronicities because their mind is tuned to a frequency where they cannot exist. But those who open themselves to the possibility, who trust their intuition, who allow themselves to consider that reality is alive and interactive, these are the ones who live guided by synchronicities. They are not special. They have simply tuned their awareness to a different frequency, like adjusting a radio dial to finally hear the station that was always broadcasting. Once you turn that dial, the signs that seemed invisible begin to emerge everywhere. And once you acknowledge them, reality responds by amplifying them. This is why synchronicities are not just coincidences. They are feedback loops. The more you notice, the more they appear. The more you trust, the stronger they grow. The more you act, the more reality rearranges itself in your favor. The real power of synchronicities lies not only in noticing them, but in learning how to decode and use them. They are not random ornaments scattered along your path. They are markers, signals, and sometimes warnings placed with precision. They are like signposts in a dense forest, subtle enough to miss if you are rushing, but clear enough to guide you if you pause and pay attention. To work with synchronicities is to recognize that the universe is not silent but interactive, not indifferent but deeply personal. And when you learn to interpret these messages, you unlock a dialogue with reality itself. Consider the repeating numbers so many people encounter: 111, 2, 333, or 44. To the skeptic, these are dismissed as nothing more than confirmation bias. But to the awakened mind, they are a language of frequency. Each number carries a vibration, and when it repeats, it amplifies. For example, 111 often appears at the moments of new beginnings, nudging you to align with a fresh path. 222 may surface during periods of decision, urging you to trust balance and patience. 333 can signify that support and guidance are surrounding you, while 444 often represents stability and protection as you move through transition. These are not rigid definitions, but archetypal vibrations. When such numbers appear repeatedly at meaningful moments, it is less about mathematics and more about resonance. The universe is reminding you that you are in tune with a larger order. Other synchronicities appear through encounters. You might overhear a conversation in public that delivers the exact phrase you needed to hear. You might run into someone you haven't seen in years who suddenly holds the missing piece to your current puzzle. A book might fall off a shelf, literally presenting itself to you. These are not accidents. They are alignments. They occur because your subconscious, your vibration, and the intelligence of reality are weaving together in ways beyond your conscious planning. When such moments happen, you have two choices: to brush them aside as chance, or to recognize them as deliberate nudges guiding your path. This recognition demands sensitivity and trust. Synchronicities rarely shout. They whisper. They appear in ways subtle enough that only an attentive mind can catch them. That is by design. If the universe forced synchronicities upon you so loudly that you could not deny them, your free will would vanish. You would become a puppet on strings, dragged along by obvious signals. Instead, synchronicities exist in the delicate space between doubt and faith. They require you to trust your intuition, to step beyond logic, and to move in alignment with something larger than yourself. In this way, they are also tests. Do you trust the flow enough to follow the signs? Do you believe that reality itself is intelligent enough to guide you? Or do you remain imprisoned in skepticism, where every alignment is dismissed as just coincidence? Carl Jung once explained that synchronicities are acausal connections, events linked not by cause and effect, but by meaning. This is a radical departure from how we are taught to see the world. In the materialist worldview, every event is caused by something mechanical, physical, and measurable. But synchronicities cut across that model, connecting events not by causality, but by significance. They say, "This matters to you, pay attention." When you understand this, you realize that life is not just a linear chain of cause and effect. It is also a tapestry of meaning, and synchronicities are the threads that reveal its hidden pattern. The ancients knew this long before modern psychology or physics gave us the vocabulary. Shamans, mystics, and seers across cultures paid attention to omens, signs, and alignments in nature. They understood that the external world mirrored the internal state. If an animal appeared at a crucial moment, if the sky shifted in a certain way, if a dream aligned with waking events, these were not ignored. They were recognized as communications between the seen and unseen realms. Today, modern culture dismisses such interpretations as superstition. But perhaps what we call superstition is simply the forgotten art of listening to synchronicities, an art we are only now beginning to rediscover. What is remarkable is how synchronicities often appear during times of transition, crisis, or awakening. They surface when you are standing at a crossroads, uncertain of which way to turn. They arrive when you are asking questions of meaning, purpose, and identity. They multiply when you are in alignment with your deeper self, and they fade when you drift into disconnection. This pattern suggests that synchronicities are not static phenomena, but dynamic responses. They are the feedback system of reality, showing you when you are aligned with your higher path and when you are not. Like a compass needle, they constantly point toward your true north. To work with them consciously, you must first slow down and notice. Pay attention to repetition. When something appears multiple times in different contexts, whether a number, a symbol, a phrase, that is your cue. Keep a synchronicity journal. Write down the alignments you notice, no matter how small. Over time, patterns emerge. You will see that the universe is not whispering randomly, but weaving a coherent dialogue. Second, trust your intuition. Synchronicities are not meant to be dissected purely with logic. Their meaning is often personal and symbolic, not universal and literal. What 111 means to you may not mean the same to someone else. Trust the resonance. If it feels like a sign, it is. Third, act on them. Synchronicities are not decorations. They are invitations. If a door opens, walk through it. If a person appears in your life with the answer you've been seeking, engage. If a sign points to a new path, take it. Ignoring synchronicities closes the dialogue. Acting on them deepens it. The deeper truth is that synchronicities reveal the illusion of separation. You were taught that your thoughts are private, your emotions are internal, and the world outside is separate from you. But synchronicities show otherwise. They reveal that your inner state and outer reality are intertwined, reflections of one another. Your mind and the universe are not two things. They are one system, endlessly communicating. Synchronicities are the cracks through which that oneness reveals itself. When you truly understand this, you begin to live differently. Life stops being a meaningless chain of accidents and becomes a living dialogue. You stop seeing yourself as a passive observer and start realizing you are a co-creator. You no longer chase after meaning. It meets you in every alignment, every repetition, every chance encounter. And, as you trust this flow, you begin to experience what mystics call synchronicity consciousness, a state where life itself feels guided, connected, and alive. Once you begin recognizing synchronicities, the most important step is to use them consciously. They are not passive curiosities to be observed and forgotten. They are living invitations to co-create with the universe. To ignore them is to silence the dialogue. To acknowledge them is to step into a partnership with reality itself. But to truly transform your life, you must go further, into intention, alignment, and action. Intention is the starting point. The universe responds to clarity. When your desires are vague, your signals are weak, and synchronicities appear scattered or unclear. But when you set a clear intention, whether it is for guidance, purpose, healing, or opportunity, the alignments sharpen. It is as if you are tuning a frequency. You can literally ask the universe, "Show me a sign that I am on the right path. Reveal the next step toward my purpose. Send the right people and opportunities into my life." When you ask with sincerity, the response often comes quickly, not in a linear explanation but in symbols and encounters and perfect timing. The key is openness. The universe rarely delivers in the form you expect. It speaks in riddles, metaphors, and patterns. The more open you are, the clearer the answers become. Alignment is the next principle. Synchronicities are reflections of your vibrational state. When you are filled with fear, doubt, or overanalysis, your energy contracts and the flow of synchronicities diminishes. The signs do not stop, but your perception narrows, making them harder to recognize. Conversely, when you cultivate gratitude, curiosity, and receptivity, your vibration rises, and synchronicities accelerate. This is why people often experience a flood of synchronicities during moments of personal growth, spiritual awakening, or courageous change. Their energy is aligned with their deeper purpose, and reality responds accordingly. Practices like meditation, visualization, mindfulness, and journaling help raise this alignment. They clear the mental noise, expand awareness, and open you to the subtle frequencies where synchronicities live. But perhaps the most crucial step is action. This is where most people falter. They notice repeating numbers, symbolic encounters, or uncanny alignments, but they hesitate. They wait for confirmation after confirmation, paralyzed by doubt. Yet synchronicities are not designed to provide infinite reassurance. They are catalysts. When you see the same number or symbol over and over, when an opportunity appears aligned with your desires, when life opens a door, it is not random. It is your invitation to move. If you ignore it, the signs fade and the dialogue weakens. If you act, the connection strengthens, and more synchronicities follow. The universe rewards movement. Each time you respond, reality responds back, creating a feedback loop of alignment and flow. This is why those who live in deep synchronicity appear to experience effortless luck. It is not luck. It is co-creation. They have trained themselves to notice, to trust, and to act. They do not dismiss signs as coincidence. They treat them as guidance. They step through doors that others ignore. And in doing so, they activate pathways of opportunity that remain invisible to those who are blind to the patterns. Life seems to work for them because they are not resisting the intelligence woven into reality. They are flowing with it. The skeptics will argue that synchronicities are nothing more than selective attention, confirmation bias, or psychological projection. And on one level, they are right. Your reticular activating system filters your perception, and your subconscious mind notices patterns aligned with your focus. But what skeptics fail to ask is why the patterns align so meaningfully, so personally, so precisely with your thoughts and emotions. Why does the timing so often feel beyond chance? Why do synchronicities emerge exactly when you are asking the deepest questions or standing before crucial choices? If it were merely bias, the patterns would be random, fragmented, or irrelevant. Yet they so often strike with uncanny precision, carrying guidance that shifts the trajectory of lives. The very fact that they align with meaning rather than randomness suggests something more profound is at play. Your subconscious, your vibration, and the larger intelligence of reality are not separate. They are part of the same system. This is the hidden truth. Reality is not random. It is structured, intelligent, and responsive. Synchronicities are the cracks in the illusion, the moments when the deeper order shines through. They are reminders that you are not wandering blindly through chaos, but walking through a living field of meaning. They prove that consciousness is not trapped inside your head, but woven into the fabric of existence itself. When you experience a synchronicity, you are glimpsing the non-local connections that quantum physics speaks of, the archetypal alignments Jung described, the divine timing mystics have always trusted. You are steppy, outside the narrow cage of cause and effect, and into a wider dimension where mind and reality are inseparable. To integrate this awareness into daily life is to live differently. It is to treat every encounter, every repetition, every alignment as part of a conversation with the universe. It is to move beyond passive observation into active co-creation. You no longer ask, "Is this a coincidence?" Instead, you ask, "What is this telling me? What opportunity is opening here? How can I align with this flow?" Life becomes less about control and more about trust, less about forcing outcomes, and more about following the guidance that presents itself. And paradoxically, by surrendering to this dialogue, you gain more influence over your reality than by clinging to control. This path is not without challenge. It requires courage to follow signs into the unknown. It requires humility to admit that logic alone cannot explain everything. It requires trust to act when certainty is absent. But for those who walk it, the rewards are profound. Life begins to unfold with elegance, timing, and meaning. Opportunities appear exactly when needed. Encounters arrive with perfect precision. Inner desires align with outer circumstances in ways that defy explanation. The veil of randomness lifts, and reality reveals itself as intelligent, connected, and alive. Now you face the choice. You can return to the old mindset where synchronicities are dismissed as tricks of the brain, where life is random, mechanical, and indifferent. Or you can step into the truth that has always been whispering to you, that synchronicities are real, that they are messages, and that they are guiding you toward your highest path. If you choose the latter, the dialogue begins now. Pay attention. Trust the signs. Act on them. Because the moment you do, you will discover that synchronicities are not rare at all. They are everywhere, waiting for you to wake up and finally see them.